Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to knit this Valentine dog sweater with cable heart knitting. Let's get started. Okay, so this sweater I knitted is for my 10-pound Yoki, but you can adjust and customize for your dog. Check my description box for details for yarn, needles, and written pattern. Again, this is complete customized sweater. For my dog, around the neck is about 12 inch. From the bottom of the neck and all the way down to the back part, about 12 inch. Front area, 10 inch. And around the chest, about 14 inch. Again, this is completely customized dog sweater. Even if you have 10-pound dog, the shape of the dogs are all different. So you really have to make plan ahead. Okay, let's talk about sweater. This sweater is knitting from top to down, okay? And the neck rib is double neck rib, more thicker. Then after the neck, you slowly increase towards to the leg, then leg opening. Then I decrease some stitch around the tummy because my dog is skinny. Then finish the tummy way earlier than back. Then back part, it's just a cabling knitting, right? After the neck, there's the leash opening, then start cable knitting all the way down until your desired length. Okay, that's the cable for B, the long and short, combination. Okay, then that's gotta be both side, then right twist. Then in the middle, there's the cable heart. It's beautiful design. And important thing of this heart is direction. If you stand in behind the dog, you can see the hearts beautifully lined up, okay? Cast on, multiple of 2. I made 70. Some people ask me how can they find right cast on number. It's really up to your dog. So you really have to do many times to make sure it fits your dog. After the cast on, you will have to connect both ends. I am going to use magic loop technique because I'm using longer cable. Okay, and again, I put the magic loop technique video in my description box. So if you never done the magic loop technique, please go and watch. Okay, and rib should be repeat of knit 1 and purl 1 on the first row, and second row you just have to knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch. So the first row is very important. Okay, and I would like to make double neck rib, so I am going to knit until my desired length times 2, which is 4 inch. So when I fold it, it's gonna be only 2 inch neck rib, right? And at first I knitted it about 6 inch. It was too long, so I redo it. Okay, so next video looks a little bit longer because that was 6 inch. Okay, there you go. It's 6 inch, but I decide to do it again. I didn't really like the long neck rib. Okay, so I am going to fold in half inward. Okay, I'm looking at the right side right now, and that's the first stitch, which is knit stitch, right? Right, knit stitch, which means on the wrong side there's a purl stitch, of course, right? So remember this and fold in half. You have to go straight down the purl, straight down, all the way down, then picking up the last stitch on the edge. Okay, there you go. Then those two stitch knit together, okay, to join both ends. Okay, and you're still doing rib, so this is knit, then next one purl, right? So behind the purl stitch, which is knit stitch, so all the way down the knit stitch is right there. So picking up the end of the knit stitch like that, then purl together to join them together. And you have to do this one round, okay, to make the double neck rib. Again, this is optional. If you don't like this, you can pass it. So you don't really have to knit rib, double length either. Okay, so make sure about it. And again, you really have to pick up right stitch. Okay, if you pick up next stitch or something, this rib going to be twisted. Okay, so you have to go straight down. Okay, so after you made the double neck rib, set up row. It's gonna be all knit, and I just want you to put some markers. Okay, so first of all, you put begin marker to start, right? Then knit one, knit one. Then place the marker. PM means place the marker. Then after the first marker, knit one. Then place another marker. That's gotta be mid stitch. Then all knit until the begin marker. This is the setup row. But I want you to do a couple more things. All right? Count evenly. Count stitch evenly from that mid stitch. Okay? And I want you to divide by front piece and back piece. Okay? That's the chest front piece. Okay? Count evenly. Okay? I have 70 stitch. So divided by 2 is 35. So back piece, front piece, 35 each. Okay? The mid stitch, which means that's the front piece, the chest part. Okay? So that's one, right? Then make it 35 each way, which means I have to take 17 each from the mid stitch. Then put the side marker for now. Okay? So 35 for front piece and 35 for back piece. There you go. Just temporary. Okay? Again, okay? Do not count stitches from the begin marker. Always mid-chest marker. All right? And can you see the pink markers on the back side? Okay? From the side marker, I count stitch evenly, and then I put 2 markers and 11 stitches in between those 2 markers. That's gotta be leash opening. And I want you to do all this in one round of the setup row, which is all knit, right? But I need you to do one more thing, okay? I need 40 stitch total for the cable design on the back. I have 35 stitch for the back, right? So I would like to move side stitch to make it 40 stitch. You know what I'm saying? So the right side, I am going to move 3 stitch towards to front piece, right? And then the left side, I am going to move 2 stitch. So the back stitch I have now 40. If you're knitting much smaller sweater, I have 28 stitch version too. Okay, so please check my description box. Anyway, this is all I need to do in one row after the neck rib. Okay? And if you're knitting way bigger size of the sweater and you have way more than 40 stitch for the the back piece, you still have to move the side marker and make it only 40 right in the middle of the back. Okay? And can you see the mid stitch right on the chest area? That's the stitch there in between 2 markers, and this stitch has to be always 1. Okay? Then both sides gradually increase until the leg opening, and after the leg opening, no more increasing. Okay, so make sure you have enough increasing. And back piece, I did leash opening in the middle of the cable knitting, but this time I'm not going to. I make leash opening right after the neck rib. Then after the leash opening, I'm gonna start making cable design. So let's start. Increasing row number 1. Okay? Knit until the first marker. Okay? In this case, there's only 1 stitch, so knit 1 until the marker. Okay? Knit 1. Then you have to increase 1 stitch before the marker using that running thread. Okay? Make 1 right. With your left needle, pick up the running thread from the behind like that. Okay? Then knit 1 there. You increase 1 stitch just before the marker. Then slide the marker, knit 1, then slide the marker again. Then with running thread right after the marker, okay, you make 1 left. So pick up the running thread with left needle from the front. Then knit 1 with back loop. This is a little bit tricky. Okay, back loop. Then knit 1 there. Then after this, all knit until the begin marker. This is it, okay? The increase in row number 1. This is it. Again, you just knit until the leash opening. Then now you bind off in between pink markers. For me, which is 11 stitch, okay? Bind off. And when you hit the second marker for leash opening, you just bind off only 10. So you have to remove second leash opening marker, then you have to bind one more stitch off. That makes 11 stitch, okay? There you go. I removed second marker, then one more bind off to make 11 stitch leash opening. Here comes front, which is increasing row number 2. It's easy, all knit. Okay, so for the chest part, okay, increasing row, you just have to repeat increasing row number 1 and row number 2 until you hit the top of the dog's leg. And back of the sweater, you have to think about the leash opening and, cable knitting. So you have to think two things at the same time. Okay, there you go. This is the front piece. You have to increase slowly until you hit the leg. Okay, this is for the chest part. Another word, front piece. Okay, so now let's finish the leash opening. Okay, okay, here comes leash opening. Okay, do you remember how many stitch I bind off? 11. So now I have to add new cast, which is 11 new cast. Same number as bind off. So I'm adding new cast, 11 of them. And after that, you just keep knitting, just like nothing happened. Okay, keep knitting. Okay, just keep knitting, and you're approaching end of the increasing row number 2, right? Which means next row for the chest part should be increasing row number 1. Okay, and I'll show you the increasing technique one more time. Okay, the reach in begin marker, then start increasing row number 1 because repeating, row number 1 and row number 2. So increasing row is knit until the marker, right? Then before the marker, first marker, you have to make one right. Running thread, picking up like that, then knit one there. Just take your time. Then slide the marker, knit one, mid stitch always one stitch, and after the second marker, pick up the running thread from the front, then with the back loop, knit one to increase. Then knit around, okay? And I want to start cable knitting on increasing row number 1. So you have to finish increasing row number 2. Then cable knitting starts when increasing row number 1. This way, it's easy to remember. Example, if you're doing cable heart knitting row number 7, which is odd number, another word, you're on increasing row number 1. Okay? Anyway, I am going to start cable knitting on the back. Again, I want you to remember on the chest part, you just keep repeating, increasing row number 1 and row number 2 until you want to stop for the leg opening. Okay? Now, I want to see the pattern. As you can see, the odd number of the row, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, very straightforward. Only purl and knit. But even number of the row contains cable knitting. So I am going to show you how to do row number 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay? So this is row number 1. So cable row number 1, as you can see, those 40 stitches are very straightforward. Starting with purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 2, and with purl 2. So just be careful because this is kind of the setting up row as well. So you just have to make sure everything is right stitch. Well, every row has to be, right, but especially this row, you got to be very careful. Okay? Again, you have to be very careful. You have to think two things in one row. Okay? For the chest increasing part and the back for the cabling, right? But only you have to be careful is around the mid chest area, right? Everything else should be all knit. Okay? But still, don't get confused. All right? Here comes cable row number 2. Okay? There's lots of, new technique kicks in here. So you gotta watch my video carefully. Okay, purl 2 to start. Then knit 4. Okay, easy enough. Then purl 2 after knit 4. And after purl 2, right twist is coming. There we go. Right twist, you need 2 stitch. Okay? And halfway of knit 2 together. Okay? Halfway. Knit 2 together, you pull 1 stitch on the right, and you usually drop 2 off from the left, but you don't. Okay? You put right needle into the middle of the 2 stitch like that. Then knit first one. Okay? Then now you have 2 stitch on the right needle, then you can drop 2 stitch off from left needle. That's right twist. Then purl 2. Next, CP4B, okay, which is cable purl in both for back. So you grab the cable needle and pick up 2. Okay, those are purl stitch. Then 4B, so the cable needle put the back at the back. Then knit 2 from the left cable. Okay? Knit 2 from left cable. Come back to the cable needle. Straight up. Do not twist. Okay? Just straight up. Then those 2 stitch you have to make purl. This is CP4B. Then next, C for F, no purl. Okay? C, cable for front. So pick up 2 stitch. Then you leave cable needle at front. Then knit 2 from left needle first. There you go. Then knit 2 from cable needle, no purl. Okay? Then C for B next. It's easy. Cable for back. Okay? Pick up 2. Put cable needle at the back. Then knit 2 from left needle. Then come back to cable needle. Then knit 2. No purl. Then next, purl coming. Okay? C, P, 4, F. Cable, purl, 4, front. Okay? Always knit half of the stitch, which is 2. Okay? Put out front. And this time, purl 2 first. Purl 2. Then come back to the cable needle. Then this time, knit 2. You purl first. Then knit 2 from cable needle. Okay? Then purl 2. And one more right twist coming. There you go. Again, halfway of the knit 2 together. Okay? Pull 1 stitch, then insert in the middle of the 2 stitch on the left needle and knit first 1. Then drop 2 stitch off from the left needle, purl 2, knit 4, and purl 2. I will tell you a few more times, okay? So don't worry about it, okay? Then I meet you on cable row number 4. Cable row number 4. This is easy, okay? Purl 2, then C for B, cable for back. Pick up 2 stitch, put the cable needle at the back, knit 2 from the left needle, then come back to cable needle. It's really hard to see right now. Be patient, okay? Knit 2 from the left needle, then come back to cable needle, then knit 2 from cable needle. C for B and C for F is easy, okay? Because not purl involved. Purl 2, then right twist, easy, right? Halfway of knit 2 together and insert into the middle and knit the first one, okay? And purl 2, knit 2, and purl 4, then C for B, right? Purl 4 and C for B. Again, pick up 2 stitch with the cable needle, right? And then put the cable needle at the back, then knit 2 from the left needle, then come back to the cable needle, then knit 2 from cable needle. And after this, you have a right twist and another C for B. This is easy, okay? Cable needle, okay? It says C for B, right? So 4 always divided by 2. That's why you always pick up 2 stitch with the cable needle. Then indicates, you have to leave the cable needle at the back or front. Okay, if it says C for B means back, so you have to put the cable needle at the back. If it's, C for F, which means cable for front, so you have to put the cable needle out front. Okay, that's the difference, right? And those 4 always knit. Only if I say CP for B or CP for F, the purl in bow, but not all of them are purl. Okay, you gotta be very careful, and I'll tell you, how to remember easier way. Okay, and see you at cable row 6. Here comes cable row 6. Again, purl 2 to start. So now you know what to do for, the right twist. And now CP3F and CP3B is coming. This is a little bit tricky, so you really have to, watch, okay? Because now 3 stitch involved for the cable, cabling, right? And you can divide by 2. So you have to follow the rule, okay? So CP3F, which means, okay, pick up 2 stitch with cable needle. There you go. Then cable needle out front. Then 1 purl, okay? 1 purl. Then knit from the cable needle. This is CP3F. Okay? Then purl 3, purl 4, purl 3, then CP3B coming. Okay? Purl involved. And this is different way to do that. Okay? Now pick up 1 stitch instead of 2. 1 stitch with cable needle and CP3B, so put the cable needle at the back. Then knit 2 from left needle. Then purl 1 from cable needle. This is CP3B. And rest of them are very straightforward. Okay? And next will be cable row number 8. Okay? But again, cable row 8 contain CP3F and CP3B. So I want to focus on those 2 techniques. And again, in my description box at the very end of the written pattern, I wrote the detail for every technique. So you must read that too, maybe every time if you need to. Okay, so cable row number 8. Okay, and I just told you I want to focus on CP3F. Okay, 3 always divide by 1 and 2. Okay, and 1 stitch always purl. So you just have to remember CP3F. Okay, you have to pick up 2 stitch with cable needle, right? 3F, pick up 2 with cable needle, which means 1 stitch left on the left needle, so 1 stitch purl, and rest of them knit. Okay, and pick up 2, so 1 stitch on the left needle, purl, which means 2 stitch on the cable needle has to be knit. Okay, because 1 stitch out of 3 always purl. Okay, and purl 2 and C4B, now easy, no purl involved, all 4 are knit. So picking up 2, put at the back, knit 2 from left needle and come back to cable needle, then knit 2. Then purl 2, then here comes CP3B. Okay, CP3B, you gotta remember, pick up 1 stitch. Pick up 1. Then put the cable needle at the back. So 1 stitch always purl. So knit 2 from left needle, then purl 1 from the cable needle. That's how you remember. Okay? And purl 3, right twist, halfway knit 2 together and insert in the middle of the 2 stitch and knit 1. There you go. And meet you at cable row number 10 after this. Okay? Cable row number 10. Easy. But remember, there is CP4F and CP4B, which is purl involved. Okay? Those two technique you have to be very careful. I'm doing C4B. Okay? Purl 2 and right twist. Right twist is piece of cake. Okay? Then purl 4. Then CP4F coming up. Okay, with the cable needle, pick up 2 and you have to put cable needle out front, right? Then purl 2 first, okay? Purl 2. Then knit 2 from the cable needle. There you go. Then knit 4. Next, CP4B. Okay, pick up 2 stitch with the cable needle. Those are purl. Okay, there you go. And put let out the back, then knit 2 from the left cable, left needle, then purl 2 from cable needle. This is CP4B. I usually remember, okay, CP4F or CP3F, purl first, okay? Purl first from left needle. That's how I remember. And CP4B and CP3B, purl back, purl later, okay? So if it's CP4B or CP3B, always purl on the cable needle. It's really up to you how you remember, okay? There's gotta be easier way to remember for you. Or it's good thing you always check my written pattern every time make CP for F for B, 3F for 3B, okay? To make sure. That's the best way, okay? And then, okay, this cable heart complete from 1 to 12. However, you have to repeat cable row 1 to cable row 10 until your desired length for the tummy. Okay? You should stop tummy first because they have to, make a pee-pee, right? So you just keep knitting and knitting. But now you have to think about the leg opening as well, okay? So you have to think a lot of things. For me, I almost reach top of my dog's, legs. So I am going to make leg opening soon. But remember, just keep knitting. The back side is, the cable row number 1 to row number 10, repeating, okay? And for the leg opening, you have to stop on increasing row number 2, okay? The best way is you put the sweater on your dog to make sure, okay? So approaching end of the increasing row number 2 because, I'm done for increasing, okay? The back part, the whatever the row, okay? So now I put 2 markers for both sides and 14 stitch each for the leg opening. And make sure count stitch evenly from the mid stitch. Okay? Also, you have to remember where the begin marker should be. Okay? And this leg opening technique is same as leash opening. And leg opening means no more increasing after this. Okay? I'm actually telling you, you gotta remember where you should put the, the begin marker after, you make the leash opening. Oh, no, I mean the leg opening. Okay? So again, leg opening is same as leash opening. First row, you just have to bind off. For me, 14 stitch. Okay, bind off. Then next row, you add same number of new cast. For me, it's gonna be 14 new cast, right? And rest of them, just forget it and keep knitting whatever you have to do. Okay, that's about it. Especially the cable on the back, you gotta be very careful. Here comes. I already made leg opening, and I put the begin marker back. Now I want to tell you about the decreasing. My dog is very skinny around the tummy area, so I am going to decrease tiny bit of the stitches. Okay, again, count stitches evenly from the mid chest. Then decreasing method, I used knit two together technique. Okay, that's it. And I decrease 8 stitch total. But it's really up to you. If you have chubby doggy, you don't have to decrease. Okay? Okay, so let's set up for tummy. Okay, I knit enough length for tummy, right? Not for the back. I have to knit more for back anyway. I put the markers. Okay, that was 19 stitch total, and I'm just about starting row number 8. Has to be on even number of row. Okay, maybe a little bit include end of the previous row, but that's fine because I want to do this on the even number row because you have to knit from right side, right? So coming that side, because I am going to rest tummy stitches on the stitch holder. So now you have to knit back and forth, no more round until your back part finish. Okay? Anyway, I am going to show you what to do. Okay? So finishing for me row number 7. Okay, for you the whatever the row, but has to be odd number of the row, right? And then here comes row number 8. Take the begin marker and knit all the way down to the second, tummy marker, just straight. Then you need stitch holder or scrap yarn with tapestry needle because you want to take, those tummy stitches on hold. I took the mid stitch marker as well because I don't need it anymore. Anyway, knit all the way down to next tummy marker. Here comes 2 more stitch. Then grab the stitch holder, transfer those tummy stitch, for me 19 stitch, onto stitch holder. There's a working yarn. Don't worry about it. I'll show you what to do. So just transfer every tummy stitch like that onto stitch holder or scrap yarn, whichever. There you go. Now, no more knitting around. You have to knit flat, back and forth. Okay? So pull the needle, and where is the working yarn? On your left hand side. So you turn the project, then starting on row number 8. Okay? And there is the different pattern for flat knitting, okay, in my description box. The even number should be same, but odd number of the row is a little bit different. So you have to use different pattern. Okay, there is written pattern in my description box. Also, outside of the side marker, you have to knit on the right side and you have to make a purl on wrong side. You gotta remember that, okay? Whitson cable marker, you use the pattern, but outside you gotta knit or purl, whichever you're on, okay? And this is row number 8 for me, okay? For you, I don't know, but for me, row number 8, and I almost finish row number 8. And again, I just want to tell you, after the cable marker, you have to knit on right side and purl on the wrong side. Okay? And I knit about 3 rows without any decreasing. But, after 3 rows, I start decreasing on both sides. Okay? Now I start the knit row number 9, which is wrong side. And again, you gotta use different pattern because it's a little bit different, okay? Especially on odd row number, okay? And this side, wrong side, so purl outside of the cable marker, okay? Anyway, this transition is maybe little complicated, right? So you really have to write it down, everything, okay? Where you stop for the tummy and what is the next row, stuff like that, right? You have to write it down and make sure about it. And again, I knit 3 more rows. Then this is actually cable row number 1 for me. I start decreasing, side, both side, and has to be right side. I don't do decreasing on wrong side, okay? So the right side, you have to do knit 1 and SSK. Knit 1 and slip, knit, and 1 decrease. That's it. And then you knit rest of them, whatever you have to do. And then the left side, you gotta do knit 2 together and knit 1. So you knit 3 stitch. So at the very last 3 stitch, you gotta do, okay, right here, almost, knit 2 together and knit 1. Then, turn the project. Then you gotta knit wrong side without any decreasing. Okay, here comes knit 2 together and knit 1. And this decreasing, it's really up to you. I just did, until no more stitches outside of the cable marker, but it's really up to you, okay? And for the back part, I prefer you to stop on row number 10 because, again, this design complete with row number 12. So if you stop row number 10, you just make row number 11 and 12 and perfect. However, if you have to stop row number 8 for whatever the reason, don't worry. It's not end of the world. It's just a doggy sweater. Okay? So if you want to be perfect, complete design, you have to stop row number 10. Then, you keep knitting row number 11 and 12. If you stop row number 8, you can't jump into row number 11. You just have to finish right there and, go next step. But again, I finished luckily row number 10. So I start knitting row 11 and row 12 to finish this design completely. Okay? Again, if you have to stop, fine, but you have to stop on right side. There's a reason. Because after you finish, you have to reconnect, and you have to reconnect everything on right side, facing to right side. Okay, so I'm actually on the row number 12. And when you finish row number 12, okay, you have to reconnect. How you do it? You have to knit up, first of all. You have to knit up for both sides. There's no stitch, right? So you have to pick stitches. Okay? Use the edge of the side. There you go. And knit just like, pretend that you have a stitch there. Don't pick up too many stitches or too less. Okay? Just right amount. Okay? And remember, you have to count those stitches, right? Because you have the other side as well. Also, I want you to kind of adjust stitches on the other side because I want to have stitches multiple of 2 because I'm going to do the rib at the end. Okay? Well, anyway, so I'm finishing knit up one side. There you go. Then now stitch holder coming, right? And open it. And I'm gonna knit from the stitch holder. If you're using scrap yarn, you have to transfer those stitch back onto the left needle. Okay, but I'm using the stitch holder and knit it. Okay. I'm a little lazy. Okay, and just be careful. Don't drop any, the stitch off. That's all, because this is not the needle, it's a stitch holder, so it's kind of easy to drop. Okay, and then after you knit from the stitch holder, there's another side of the knit up coming. Okay, and make sure that the whole stitch number should be multiple of 2. So okay, maybe one stitch, the short or, more, it doesn't really matter. Nobody knows, right? There we go. And just keep knitting up. Use the edge, okay? Just take your time. At the very edge, you gotta pick up. There you go. Now, put the, one marker for begin marker. This is new begin marker. Then start making rib, which is repeat of knit 1 and purl 1. From the second row, you just knit over knit, purl over purl stitch. I made about the inch and a half. Okay, then knit 1, purl 1, cast off or bind off. Okay, that's about it. Okay, after you bind off, weave the ends off, and that's it. Okay, again, the key for success is make a plan ahead. Don't get confused. Print out my written pattern, okay, and write everything down, and don't get confused, okay? And if you need, just watch my video carefully many times, okay? That's the key for success, okay? I think that's about it. But if you have a question, please leave the comment below. Okay, I'm willing to help you. Valentine's will be coming in 2 weeks. I finished this sweater for 2 days with making video as well. Even if you knit kind of slow, 5-6 days is enough. Okay, look at this, beautiful. Okay, looks a little bit skinny, but again, this is knit, so it's very stretchy. Don't worry about it. Okay, the side shape is nice, especially at the bottom. Very, very nice carve. Okay, there we go. This is my doggy. Anyway, enjoy knitting. Bye for now.